Okay, today what we're doing is it's not really too much that's different from before, but we're going to be going over a new term today, which is called equations. Now, we did bring this up at the very beginning of the unit, and this might kind of jog a few of your memories, but we're just gonna do a quick review. So, an expression, which we have been finding, is where there is no equal sign, right? So those are what we've been figuring out, like 2x, for example. I'll just write an example of this. So an example could be 2x plus 3, right? That would be an example of an expression. Okay? So no equal sign. Now an equation does have an equal sign, and that's what we're mainly going to be talking about today. So right, both an equation and an expression both could have a variable, but the key difference is that an equation has an equal sign. So we're going to go through a couple examples. So a mathematical equation is a statement that basically says that two things are equal. So example, if I was to say 5 plus 4 equals something, I'm going to use a question mark for this example, okay? This is a mathematical equation. It's a statement that says that two things are equal. So 4 plus 5 equals, well, what is the value of this question mark? The value of this question mark, this is a pretty simple example, the value of the question mark is obviously 9. So when we have an equal, then we know that both sides are the same. Okay, so here we could put in the 9. We're able to do this. This is basic arithmetic, like you guys have been doing since you were in like grade 1. Okay, so when we have an equation, the goal is to figure out the value of the variables, to figure out what is the unknown variable. So an example of an equation that we might be solving, for example, could be something a little bit more complicated, like, for example, 2x equals y. Okay, so we have to figure out what the variable, what maybe y is. When we know that somebody has walked their dog 6 times, we're going to be able to figure out why in this situation. But sometimes what might happen is they might tell us what the y is and then want us to work backwards and figure out what the x is, okay? So we're going to go through an example today of this, but this is basically called solving equations. So when we're finding out what the variable is, we're solving an equation, just like you've been doing in arithmetic ever since you were in like grade 1. Okay, so that's hopefully just review. The main thing to understand is an expression does not have an equal sign, whereas an equation does have an equal sign. Okay, so here again is just a little review. So an algebraic equation could be something like this. Like we have a known part, but then we also have an unknown sign. So this is a really, really, really simple example. Okay, so if I was to write this pattern rule as an equation, the first thing I'm going to do is figure out what is in the boxes. Okay, this is exactly the same that we've been doing for so long. Okay, so how do we get from each of these, how do we get from the input to the output? Okay, so I'm going to, maybe it is, oh yeah, right, I'm going to use my little cheat over here. So we're going up by adding on 3 each time. Okay, so I think it's probably following like the strategy that we know works most of the time, times 3. Okay, so 1 times 3 is 3. How do I get to 1? I'm going to subtract 2. Okay, great, excellent. So if I was to write this as an expression, my expression, I'm going to call, just for this example, I'm going to call my input I, okay, and then I'm going to call my output y, okay? Or you know what? I'm going to change my mind. Sorry. I'm going to call my input X. That's a really, 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 really common one. So my input is going to be X and my output is going to be Y. Okay, this is really, really, really common way that we'd write these. So if I'm going to write this, first of all, let's write this as an expression. Okay, expression. Okay, hopefully this is kind of giving you time to get caught up too in copying down this table. Okay. Ugh, I really wish I was working on my iPad right now. Okay, expression. So my expression would be what I've always had. Actually, I'm not going to even put in this equal sign. That might kind of mess us up a little bit. Okay, so my expression is going to be 3x minus 2. Okay? That's my expression. Very similar to what we have been doing for such a long time. Okay, this should not be new information to anybody. Okay, now if I'm going to write my equation, which is something a little bit different, equation. O-N. Okay, equation. All right. So for my equation, it's really not that different, okay? This isn't like mind-blowing stuff, but basically it is just this. The same part as your initial expression, 3x minus 2. So when we do that, when we do 3 times our variable, which is x, so 3 times whatever we have in the input, right? Plus, or sorry, then we subtract 2, we get the output. We get y. Okay? So that is basically it for today. Okay? That's all that we need to know for our notes. Okay? So hopefully that kind of makes a little bit of sense. Okay? So when we do 3 times whatever the input is, then we subtract 2, we get y. We get our output. So that's it. That's the only really thing that's different between an expression and an equation. So I hope that makes sense to you. Okay. Now, we're going to practice this with a word problem. Okay, so here we go. All right. Okay, I related this to our dog hoser question. Remember that reading that we did a little while ago? These are so cute. Okay, so example number 3. So you've started this dog washing business, maybe which is like an offshoot to your dog walking business that we did from the other day. So you started a dog washing business and need to invest 325 dirhams in new equipment, maybe like these cool devices that you have for washing the dogs. You charge 45 dirhams for every dog you see at your dog washing service, plus an extra 30 dirhams for each dog washed. Okay, so, all right. So how many dog washes will it take for you to pay off the new equipment? Okay, this is our question. All right, how on earth are we gonna solve this? Well, what we need to do is, the first and most important thing is we're gonna put in a quick table here. Okay, alrighty. So table's gonna go in. This is gonna be exactly like what we've been practicing over the past such a long time. Okay, so what would make sense to have as our titles? We have to have titles that make sense. So we could call this one number of dogs seen. And then on this side, it's going to be dirhams. So maybe like money earned. Okay, something kind of along those lines. Okay, alrighty. So we know if, for example, okay, I'm actually going to show something just like showing one different thing with our chart today. If we have, no, I'm going to start with one dog. Okay, so if I have one dog, okay, let's see, you charge, you know what, I'm just going to change this. You charge $45 for your service. Okay, so you charge $45 for your service plus an extra 30 dirhams for every dog you see. Okay, so say for example, you serve no dogs this day, you still are going to get 45 dirhams. That's what you're going to be paid by the company because you showed up for work that day. If you wash one dog, then you're going to make even more money, right? You're going to make an extra 30 dirhams. So now what we're going to do is add on 30 dirhams to 45 dirhams, which is going to give us 75 dirhams. So that's how much money you're going to get if you you wash one dog. If you wash two dogs, then how much are you going to earn? Well, 75, and then we're going to earn another 30 dirhams, which is going to be 75 plus 30 is 105 dirhams. Okay, so now I'm going to figure out what should be up here in my pattern rule. Now, in this case, my mind was kind of already thinking what's up here. I know my constant, the thing that's staying the same every time, is 45 dirhams. No matter if I go to work and I have a super busy day and I wash maybe 5 dogs, or I have a really calm day and I don't see even any dogs, I'm still getting $45. Now, if for every single dog that I'm charging, I get 30 dirhams per dog, okay? So this is what makes sense up here. And if we go over here, we know that we're adding on 30 dirhams, right? For every single dog that we have washed. Okay, excellent. So we have our pattern. Now we're gonna write an expression, then we're going to write an equation. So an expression, like we've been doing all along, is going to be 30d, okay, or 30 times d plus 45. Okay, there we go, excellent. Okay, now, so this is, if I have 30, no matter how many dogs, well, depending on how many dogs I wash, I multiply it by 30, then I add that number to 45. If I want to write an equation, the equation's going to be 30, I'm just gonna put a times in here. 30 means the same thing, right? 30 times d plus 45 equals what? I'm gonna put equals maybe m for my money that I've earned. Okay, there we go. This is our equation. Okay, so maybe we want to write this above. This is your equation, different than an expression because it has an equal sign. Okay, equation. Okay, alrighty, nice stuff. Okay, equation is this. Okay, so now what we're going to try to figure out is, okay, so we have to go back up to here. How much, so I have to pay off this 325 dirhams. Okay, so I have to figure out how many dogs I need to walk. I don't know how many dogs I need to walk, but I do know that I have to earn $325. I know I have to earn that much. Okay, so I'm just gonna write in the rest of my equation here, fill this in to see how it looks. Okay, good, and then 30. Okay, so 30 times d. I do not know how many dogs I have to walk, but I know I have to get $325. Okay, so just like down here, we know that 325 is down here. So what do we do when we need to work backwards through the machine? Well, what we do is we have to do everything, but I like to use my green one for this, right? That's how I've been showing you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna work backwards through my machine, like this. Okay, so I need to do 325, and then I'm going to do minus 45, right? Because I'm moving backwards through the machine. So this is a subtract rather, and then this is instead a divide by 30. Okay, so here we have 0, and then we have to borrow 12, and then we have 8. So 280, okay? 280, then I have to do 280 divided by 30. Okay, you can use your calculators for this. Okay, I know, well, I'm just going to use basic facts though, because I know that 280 is really close to 300. If it was 300, it would be 10, but it's not. It is going to be 9. If I had 270, right? 270 would be 9. Okay. Would be, because, yeah, right? If we just take off the zeros, we know that 3 fits into 28 if it's in 9 times with 1 remainder. So 9. Okay, so that basically gives me my answer. So I know that if I had, well, I guess it's not even 325. It's a little bit less, right? If I wash 3 dogs, we can even figure this out. If I washed 9 dogs times 30, okay, we'll check our work, gives us 270. 270, then I'm going to do add on 45. Okay, so this is 5, and then 1, and then 3, right? Because I've carried the 1 up here. Okay, good. So 315. Okay, I'm close. Wait.